All right. Hey, hey. All right, guys, let's get into this. We are going to go to a specific message. I do these ones if something kind of interesting or odd pops up into my head, an image or a thought process, and then we see how that storyline plays out. And so I'll make it as specific as possible, but we shall see. So, in my mind's eye, by the way, I'm not a water person. I'm not a boat person. In fact, I've never been on a boat. I've actually never rafted, never kayaked. So it's a little unusual for me. I do like ferry boats though, and I would love to go on a big ship someday. But it was the image of somebody that was like on a boat, but it was quite choppy. I don't know if it was a kayak or a rowboat, or I don't even know all the names of the different littler boats, but it was a smaller boat. It wasn't a big huge thing, but it was bumpy waters. And so I don't know how to look at this just yet, but we shall see as we get going. The light, Slave Princess, so great to see you. Happy Saturday. Actually, I'm going to go with this deck instead, not the one I had in my hands first. Okay, so we have a 10 of Wands. This always reminds me of like James Herriot. I love James Herriot. All Creatures Great and Small. Terrific series of books, but it always makes me think of like being out in the like Yorkshire Dales or something, or like the English countryside, or anywhere in kind of like the UK block. But that's just kind of the fantasy image that comes into my mind. But we have somebody who has been hauling around obviously a huge burden. Now, literally, we could have somebody doing work outside. Maybe they're picking up bricks or rocks, or terraforming some chunk of their property, or trying to repair a fence, mend a fence. But it does look like that act of like trying to repair something, or trying to deal with some kind of heavy burden, is specifically so that hopefully there's less tension, less pressure, less heaviness. So this can represent like somebody who's getting outdoors, possibly to maybe like intentionally work off some energy. Maybe if this person is outside, on the water or on a boat or something, maybe that's more the emotions inside of themselves, and maybe that's why that comes up, because we have somebody trying to work through hurt, pain, fear, remorse, drama, anything they've been carrying, and they're trying to unload it, unpack it. And also somebody could be hiking, going on quite a steep hill. They may have a heavy backpack. Maybe next time don't bring like heavier snacks or canned tins or something. We have a 9 of Wands. Again, we see somebody who's got like a wounded warrior energy. This is somebody who's plagued, like a thought keeps coming and nagging them, keeps coming and zapping them again and again, as they're trying to like unwind, kind of trying to de-stress. What is this de-stress thing? By the way, somebody could be at the ocean. They could have seagulls, how they bomb for, your snackies or something. You're eating a sandwich and a seagull comes by and says, I think that's my sandwich now. We could have somebody doing that, getting dive bombed by some birds. We've got the embodiment of Wands. This is the King of Wands. So in this case, we have a Leo, Sag, or Aries. We're going to go ahead and say this is probably going to be our character that we're referring to. So this is a very loving person. They probably care a great deal. That would explain why they are bothered by things, because they have a heart, they have emotions, they have, empathy, they have the things that make us human. So that's, the double-edged sword of that is I feel things, my heart feels things, I care about things, and therefore I also can get stressed out, and I feel guilt and remorse, maybe too heavily sometimes. Maybe I feel with my heart really deeply. It does seem though like this character is on his way to like consciously try to like let go of some constantly plaguing thought on his mind, something that has bothered him maybe for quite a while. I always look at this red, like plush seating, and I usually think of it as like a booth in like a restaurant, an Italian style restaurant, or maybe like a classic 1950s like car restaurant. But right now I'm seeing it more like it would be a plush, almost like a velvet, like retro piece of furniture. I don't know if somebody has like a suede or microfiber or something that has quite a nice plush appearance to it. But I know this is weird. It's cheap. It's cheap furniture. It's not rich. Normally I think of this as really rich. I don't know why I'm getting somebody has a cheap piece of furniture that looks really good, but is not comfortable to sit in. It's a chair. It doesn't have to be red necessarily, but it's like, it always stands out and they're like, I don't want to sit in that thing. I wish I hadn't bought it. I wish I hadn't put that in my living room or something, because I don't think it's comfortable. Sorry, bizarre, but that's how these specific messages are. What is the heavy thing that you're trying to release, but it keeps bombing you? Oh, synchronicity in the reverse. I missed the synchronicity. I missed my chance. I missed my opportunity. I knew I should have done this and I didn't. I knew I should have paid attention to this. The moment was there and I did not seize the day. I knew, but I didn't listen. The divine offered me something and I didn't go for it. It was perfectly aligned just for me. And I applied too late, even though I saw it and I was like, oh my God, I could be first in line for this. But I decided, no, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it after lunch. I'll reach out for that job or send in my resume 3 days from when I first see the job posting, even though I know it was so serendipitous that I came across it. Or I don't know if this is about a person, an opportunity, but it's something that he knew was like tailor-made for him, and he didn't listen to the call. Okay, but hang on now. Beating ourselves up over what we perceive was the greatest opportunity ever that we didn't act fast enough on. I get it. He's really bothered by this, but he's trying to take it as a lesson. But I don't know that that's true. Death and rebirth. The universe actually has kind of a nice reassuring message. It says, maybe you did miss it. Maybe you didn't listen, but you know what? Let that be the lesson then. Sometimes the only way that we learn something is when we mess up, right? And the thing is, there will be lots of things in life that we could do and don't, that we should do and don't. However, that is also, how we learn. That is also, oh, guys, I'm not wearing a necklace. Holy smokes. What is wrong with me? I am remiss. Sorry. The Virgo in me just noticed something is not very bright and colorful. What is it? And it's like, my lack of jewels. Forgive me, everyone. I have failed to dress appropriately and show proper respect to my audience. I did not come dressed for the occasion. I will fix it after this. But sorry to make it all about me all of a sudden. With this, this death card, it's like, don't think there's only one opportunity in life that we'll mess up. Don't think that there's only one opportunity in life that we will sleep on and it'll bypass us. There's going to be lots and lots of other chances. Maybe this one moves on. Maybe this one opportunity is not going to be recouped for this divine masculine. Sure, he might have missed out on something that he now really wishes he had. But it says, okay, then figure out why you didn't act on it and then change that aspect of your behavior. If you tended to be too slow, you notice how we have some fungus here growing, on trees and stuff, some lichen, some fungus, some, mushroomy kind of stuff. It's like, okay, assess why you moved so slow and then, decide to change that. Look, I don't even know that this opportunity won't come back around for him. Can we please see what it was? What is the thing that he thinks that he missed? We got the Two of Wands. We got the Six of Pentacles. Again, it was like he played it as if he had a choice. And of course, we always have choices. But the truth of it was like sniffing your nose at an amazing opportunity. It is maybe like, I hate to say it, but maybe he treated something really fabulous and something that he really wanted like, yeah, it's great, but I'll get to it when I get to it. I might first want to dabble over here and see if I want something different. And the universe is like, oh, no. Then you don't get it. You were supposed to go and give your energy to it because this was something really special and you kind of disrespected it. So now you can't have it. It's something that you should have been more humble and you should have been happy that you had an access to, that this person offered you something that they said yes to you, but you weren't sure if you wanted to invest. That, you got to learn a little bit of humbleness here too. That could be, I can see why he's carrying this so heavily, because it could be I'm embarrassed because I kind of look like a jerk. Like, yeah, maybe I'll get back to you. Maybe I won't. Let me think about it. And it's like, oh no, this is one that he should have been really, it was quite a gift that something or someone, this could have been about work, job offer, with that Six of Pentacles. It could have been something about money. It could have been somebody who wanted to gift him something, wanted to work with him, wanted to, I don't know, this is about equal give and take. So it's something that would have given their best to him. Sure, this could have still been about love, but it would have been somebody that, expressed interest. And then he was like, I might want to go date this other person first before I figure out if I want to date them. And the universe was like, okay, they're gone. They're going to meet a great person. You ain't getting a chance with them, even if you call them up 3 weeks later and then ask them out on a date. You want to go date somebody else first? Guess what? They're gone. They would have given you their full attention. You weren't sure if they were worthy of your full attention. They're gone. Even if you knew, but you still wanted to like scratch something else off your list first before you said yes to them, even though you knew that's who you wanted. That's why you can't have them now. Like, that's the kind of vibe this comes across as. So yes, he made a fumble, and possibly, I don't know, why did you do that? King of Wands, Three of Swords. It may have been, reluctance to get into something, reluctance maybe to go ahead and just, put one's energy into a situation because he'd been hurt before, reluctance to, pour his energy into something because, hey, I'm just not sure that I'm ready for that. I was hurt by something in the past. We have Temperance upright. We have Four of Wands in the reverse. It's interesting because it does kind of feel like, and I think this is fair because everybody does this sometimes, we're technically fine. We're actually in a place of peace. We still want to hold on to a memory of something unpleasant that happened to us. And then kind of like soak in that a little bit, even though there's no real reason to. So it's like, you know what? Because of something that happened to me once upon a time, I just don't know that, it's almost like we want to tell our story, our sob story to somebody. Something happened to me once. And so that's the reason I don't like to move too fast. And it's like, you don't really need to dump that on a new person, or you don't really need to walk around and, wear your past experience like a t-shirt for somebody who's never done you dirty. And a situation you've already moved through and have healed from. You don't really need to lead your life's dialogue maybe with a time that you were disappointed because, and sorry, I know I'm going to sound really rude, but there is an element where it's like, if you're okay now, you've moved beyond it and you're meeting somebody much more wonderful, why lead with the once upon a time story when something didn't go well? I was brokenhearted by somebody once upon a time, and I'm not even sad about it anymore, but I still want to. It's not even about like I've learned wisdom and I'm slow to get to know somebody. It's more like he led with I'm entitled to not move forward because I get to forever hold on to the past where once upon a time things didn't go well for me. Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm over it. But it's why I dither around sometimes. I don't know. This is a gentle like nudge from the universe a little bit to like, hey, don't carry stuff and put it on other people. Just move forward in one's own life and have the best life you can. Don't focus on the whatevers might have happened, especially when you're already over it, and then kind of almost insult the next great offer because you want to bring up the past that this new person had nothing to do with. And I do think that's, as humans, I think it's tempting to want to, retell our life story, but not every chapter needs to be rehashed when it has nothing to do with this new person or this new fabulous offer. And when we're not even bothered by it ourselves anymore. So that's where the wasted time came from in this storyline. So we've got the Two of Swords. That Two of Swords was like, I'm not going to pick which door to go through right now. I instead like to stand here and know that I have the option. And it just kind of says blocking moving forward means maybe then you're not going to be allowed to move forward. Because in this story, please forgive me, I'm not trying to come down hard on this character, but in this story, it says there was no reason for this character not to move forward with somebody wonderful. None. He was already good, but he just kind of languished in the, I have a right to maybe, I don't know, not even martyr myself, but I get to kind of put somebody else through the paces of maybe I'll pick you, maybe I won't, because once upon a time I was hurt. So I'm entitled to kind of play this role, keep other people waiting on my decision. And the universe is like, nope, that's not how that works. So you have to wait for the next cycle. Next time you meet somebody wonderful, just be kind to them, just give them love, just respond, just react, just be there with them, you know? And I think that that's really nice. So we get the Six of Cups. Okay, so again, what we said, I mean, okay, so he fumbled this one, right? Not a big deal. He fumbled this one. But you know, even though he fumbled something, yes, thankfully this could be a soulmate who he will bump into again. And maybe next time he can put in some extra effort and, you know, try to make something happen with this soulmate. You know, just because he you know, fumbles it once does not mean this has to be the end of the road, but he might have to put in a little bit of extra effort, because soulmates, you know, we do come back around to. Those are souls that we, you know, we get a second chance to dance with maybe. So it's a nice, you know, look forward to the future. We have a Five of Pentacles upright. That Five of Pentacles upright is definitely the energy of right now. It might be a bummer. It might be a bummer. Right now, he's like, but what if that soulmate moved on and now they're with somebody else and blah, blah, blah. And that could happen. So you might have to wait while they're busy dancing with somebody else. If maybe that's the best metaphor. Like, you didn't make your move. You didn't go ask that partner to dance. Now they're dancing with somebody else, and maybe they're going to dance with that person all night. You may have to wait 5 months before they date somebody else and then they break up. Not saying we're hoping for anybody to break up, but just saying you don't get an in just yet to try again. This is a good time, though, for him to invest in himself with that Nine of Cups. Somebody might really like eggs, by the way. We've got a lot of eggs here. But there's definitely, I don't know if somebody's lost some money or something, lost their wallet. Be mindful of that. Also, might be time to mend some socks, darn some socks, or get some new socks. I'm picturing, though, somebody who has like, again, super specific, I know, but you know, once in a while when we have like our favorite sandals or flip-flops or something, and there's, you know, like the bottom can start to detach and you don't know it, and you catch a toe because the bottom of it like flips on something and it trips us. That's what I'm picturing, is like, careful that we don't take a spill. Careful. This character may have like a little broken shoe and they don't know that yet. So careful not to trip and fall, because he's kind of having a little bit of like, you know, he's chewing through stuff that's a little bit uncomfortable. You know, the recognition that I kind of blew it. And I had this, you know, I looked the gift horse in the mouth and I kind of blew it with that person. And it's a little embarrassing, and I'm kind of trying to recover. And I wish I hadn't, you know, blown this, at least for right now. By the way, I don't know if there's something here about the two different doors, but for like airflow or something in somebody's house, it may be better if they open up like a hallway, you know, doorway and their screen door. Maybe they'll find that the airflow in their house goes a lot better if they don't keep a particular door closed. Sorry, I know, another weird side message, but this comes across like he's got a good time, though, to just enjoy, not sit around and punish himself and feel embarrassed and feel sad and, you know, think oh gosh, how could I have done this? Remember, we have the Death card there. It's just move on from it. With the Nine of Cups upright, it's sorry, did I say Knight? Nine of Cups. Forgive me if I didn't enunciate that very well. But there's a lot of opportunity to be happy right now, and to, take some of that pressure off. Big deal. You fumbled. It's not the end of the world. Don't be ragging on yourself too much. You won't fumble next time. And we have the World card. I do think that they're going to get a second chance with whomever this soulmate is. I don't know when. I just feel like they're going to get a second chance with this soulmate. So can we see the soulmate? Somebody could see butterflies today. Okay, let's go to that deck I didn't take at the very beginning, but I swapped this one for. Who is the soulmate? Could be somebody that they have pictures of or can see pictures of, somebody that they like, somebody they think is attractive. We have a Page of Swords. That Page of Swords energy for them. The soulmate might have been like, I've been trying to figure them out a little bit. Like, I don't really know what their deal is. I don't know if this soulmate spies on them a little bit. Nine of Pentacles. The soulmate could be either or. They could be masculine or feminine. Masculine energy, so energy of the sun, in regards to the fact that they might actually take a moment here and there and just kind of like check up. Maybe since they didn't ever hear back from this King of Wands, maybe they were like, I don't know. I it's human nature to wonder, how come I didn't hear from somebody? Well, maybe they're not around. Maybe they're, not on social media. Maybe they're not around. Maybe they're out of town. Maybe they have other things going on. So she may have taken the initiative to kind of like check in some way, or maybe this is just representing like asking around, gathering a little bit of info. Like, I kind of thought that I was going to hear from them, but I didn't. So I'm over here just going on about my life. But yeah, I think of them from time to time. I'm going to go ahead and say she, even though technically this could be masculine as well. But they tend to be somebody in the Nine of Pentacles. It's like, it's no skin off my back if I don't hear from this person. It's not the end of the world. But at the same time, I do wonder a little bit. I mean, how could I not? So she may be somebody that works in an industry where, I don't know, I'm picturing somebody who's like in an office building that gets chilly. So even if she wears cute, sexy outfits, she's got to cover up with, like a warm, cozy sweater or something, even if it's like not cold outside. She may do something, in regards to books. Maybe she's a bookkeeper, maybe she sits a lot, maybe she's a librarian, maybe she's paralegal, maybe she's in some industry though where she tends to get a little chilly, even though she may wear cute boots and mini skirts. But this is somebody who's got like their own life, their own interests, their own, this is a pretty whole character. Like her energy is complete. But with the moon, she does wonder about the mysteries, right? I have to say, because this is the subconscious mind that we're talking about now, she's not about to reach out to that King of Wands. She doesn't know what's going on with them. She's not talking to them. They haven't talked to her. And now we have this funky tarantula between the two of them, meaning she's subconsciously like, it'll be awkward if I bump into them now because I didn't hear from them or because they haven't reached out to me. And it was left where there must have been some kind of like, I expected to hear from them. And since I didn't, that when I see them face to face someday, that thing will still be there between us. It'll be very awkward. I'm not about to ask them, I'm not going to hunt somebody down. Hey, how come I didn't hear from you? She's not like confrontational. It's just, there's a little bit of like, oh, that'll be a little weird, a little uncomfortable someday when I do bump into them. Because, okay, so she has formed a bit of an unfavorable opinion of them in the sense that this can be a fantasist card. It's like she may see them as somebody who just randomly, I don't know, either lives in a bit of la la land or does things to stoke their ego or doesn't really have follow through because it's kind of all about them and whatever they want and wherever they choose to be or whatever they choose to seek out is just what they do, where they go, and it's all about them. So there is an element where she's maybe already subconsciously assumed that if something else shiny catches their eye, they go that route. If they say things but they don't follow through unless it's totally convenient for themselves, if better offers show up, they might go that route instead. That's kind of her thought process here. And we have the Judgment card. Okay, so in all fairness, she has thought about this quite a bit. and in context of herself. So the way I would say this is, if she has, let's say, decided that how come I meet people that operate that way again and again? What is the vibe I'm giving off? Because you notice it's her coming out of the coffin again and again and again and again around her tree of life, consulting with her ancestor. We got the owl up there. And instead of her being like, that person's a jerk, blah, 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 we see her just asking her own self and her ancestors, what am I to learn about this? Maybe I've had a habit of meeting people that don't really follow through with me. So instead of being like, wow, what's wrong with them? Let me just turn it around and say, what's the message behind, recognizing that there are a lot of people out there that don't really have follow through. This is not to say what's wrong with me, that I'm attracting them or that I'm attracted to them. She's whole. She's a 9 of Pentacles. There's nothing wrong with her. But I think this is a good time to like totally let go of people that don't have follow through. If somebody's not like seeking out your fabulous energy, don't let them live in your head. I understand she's like, oh, well, look, they're not bogging down my whole life, but yes, I think about them. I wondered what happened. Subconsciously, I think it's going to be awkward when I see them again. I kind of assume that this is the character they are. But then on the other hand, why not just let the whole thing go? Who cares? Who cares what they are? Who cares at all what they're doing? If somebody is not able to pursue, okay, so I'll say this, and I've said it so many times. When I first got my Aries, my pup, the rule of what I had read and learned was, in a litter, the doggies that run toward you are the ones to select from. The puppies that run away, let them go. They are not maybe wanting to be your puppy, but they also, you want a brave little inquisitive doggy. And so if they run the opposite way, okay, that's not your pup. Just let them go. Only, consider that you are selecting from the ones that are inquisitive about you. And my Aries was very inquisitive. It was wonderful. But we have an 8 of Swords upright. Yeah, I do think that she is consulting with her ancestors. She's trying to always get a life lesson out of anything, from what I can see. And of course, the Judgment card is about reconciling with something so we can move on. We can let it go. We can resurrect a thought process, and then we can make peace with it. Sometimes we can also, welcome somebody back into our life. Of course, that can be the other interpretation, but usually it's like, let me reflect and then let me make peace with something, whatever. And then we see what that means. What's the outcome of taking that kind of, thought process and action? And then the fact that we have this 8 of Swords, it's like, I think she's trying to figure out, or trying to make peace with, do I get stuck sometimes on people that are not putting in effort toward me? Is that something in myself that I could look at and say, maybe that's, this is just thoughts. It doesn't mean it holds her back in life and growth, but does she, or has she had multiple times, because we got her a lot of times here, and then we got a lot of swords here. Have I repetitiously sometimes found myself, my thoughts turning to somebody that was mysterious? Maybe she likes mysteries. Maybe she likes to solve mysteries. Maybe it's one of those where it's like, I sometimes get hooked on the mystery of what happened to them. Okay, so she could be a really powerful romantic, and she could also be somebody who is a tremendous empath or intuitive. Now that's going to complicate matters. It can be a gift or a curse. She could be both romantic and also truly like empathic, telepathic, something along those lines. So she knows when somebody cares about her. But that doesn't mean just because they care, they're ready to move forward. We already saw he blew it with her, and he knows it, right? He's embarrassed about having blown it with her because, well, we already saw his story. We don't need to rehash that part of it. She's over here going, let me consider this. Do I tend to get stuck sometimes on a thought process because I can still feel somebody's energy? And I'm wondering, is this a 2 of Cups? If she's empathic, she can probably sense a lot of people's energy, not even just, the potential like, oh my God, the one, the only one, the person I'll have the greatest love story with, the person I, am a kindred soul with, but she may find it a little bit confusing that she can oftentimes tell when somebody's attracted to her, but not approaching her, when somebody clearly wants something from her, but they're not really taking direct person to person contact. She might be able to hear somebody's, energy when they're, thinking about her, even if they're 1,000 miles away, or it's 3:30 in the middle of the night. She wakes up and she's like, okay, so what in the hell is going on? Well, they might be looking her up at the same time. She may be pondering right now, how come I can, this muddies the waters. Why do I get sometimes stuck on a thought process about somebody? It may be that she's like, do I perpetually like fall into this, I fall in love, and it's a fantasy again and again? Or have I met multiple people that could be great, the one and the only one for me? Or do I think everyone's the one and the only one for me? Look, she seems very grounded because she was that 9 of Pentacles, but then she's also like intelligent, and she's, kind of parsing through the, trying to figure out what's fact from fiction. What is it that why does my mind get stuck on something? Am I just trying to solve it? I just don't know that she's hit yet on the fact that she may be an empath. And that is tough when you can feel other people's energy. And maybe sometimes, she's okay. So she's figuring it out. She's having that light bulb moment. We have the sun. That's pure clarity. It's like, wait a minute. Okay. So I can feel somebody's energy. That gets a little murky to figure out, is it mine or is it theirs? But if that's the moment of clarity, I love the fact that we have a character that is like contemplating things, asking themselves, what do they know to be true for themselves? Yeah, I am still thinking about them. It's going to be hella awkward when we meet again someday. I have a feeling they might be somebody who's, doing what's good for them. Why do I meet people that kind of don't approach? Why is it that I, can feel a draw from somebody, but then I keep thinking about them? Is it because they're super important to me, or is it because I'm super important to them? Or am I picking up on the vibes of what could be, the fantasy that's in their own head about what it could be, but they're not ready to move forward toward me? Wait a second. So am I reading the entire situation? Because there's going to be lots and lots of people in this earth that we could end up with, that we could have great happiness with. There will be a lot of missed opportunities. There will be a lot of untaken, chances. There will be lots of people that we could connect to, and potentially they could be the love of our life. They could be the person we marry, the person we have a good relationship with. But many times those people will not come toward us. Maybe it's a wrong moment. Maybe there's too much fear. Maybe, there's so many variables before things like click into place. But the thing is, if she's empathic and she can almost hear their kind of like unfurling thoughts, even though they didn't say those thoughts, that could be, like, I can tell that person's drawn to me. I can tell that there's even a kindred spirit. Well, here's the other kicker. We human beings, we all share like something, because we're all humans. And any person that we think is attractive or nice, we may low key have a split second fleeting, like, I wonder what it would be like if I were with them. And a highly attuned empath could pick up on that. And then it's like, okay, hang on. Is this person saying that they want to approach me? And this could all happen in her subconscious. So it's not in the forefront of her mind. And it's not that she's even a fantasist. It's just all the different timelines. She has access to all the different timelines of what could be, not necessarily what will be, but the fleeting imaginary, like, if we chose to, we could be a thing. On the other hand, 2 minutes later, you meet somebody else, and guess what? If we chose to, we could be a thing. I'm wondering if this is more one of those very detailed, because if you look closely, they're even standing in like the grand library, right? The Akashic record library, where everything we can do, will do, have done has already been recorded in, volumes of books of the different ways our life could unfold. And if she is bombarded by the awareness of all the different pathways that life could go, and all the different people we meet, and the fleeting images of like, that person's attracted to me, I can tell their thoughts skittered past me in a flash of a second of a life we could have together, but they may never ask me out. But maybe she can't help it that she's already highly attuned to those thoughts or to those potential, pathways that life could take. That could be a little bit maddening unless she learns how to like work with that flow and set up parameters of, yeah, sure, anything could happen. Anything could happen. But let me be really clear about what path do I want. And I think for an empath, this is just my opinion, by the way, all of these are fictional stories. Bear that in mind. That's what I am, is a fictional storyteller. But I do look for the most interesting storyline that I can find. And here's my thought. And I'm not even saying the empaths are real. I have no idea. But for this storyline, they are, and she is. She is one. For an empath, to be able to remember more than anything, you cannot just pick up on someone else's wants, desires, and fantasy thought process. To control that, because you're going to pick it up anyway, but you can't just pick it up and then say, okay, what are they going to do? Full stop there. What it should be is, I can sense that person has a little interest in me. Hold up. Do I have interest in them? What would I want with them? It should be, let me bring it home to me. Let me ask myself, do I like this? Do I want this? Do I want to allow that energy to come at me? Do I want to absorb their obvious interest in me? Learning how to block, exit, put up expectations of what I would like, what I wouldn't like, instead of just absorbing somebody else's, waves of energy that, I'm thinking of what it could be like with you. It could be like, I can shut that down right now because I don't want you thinking about what it could be like to be with me. I didn't say I'd be with you. It's a little bit like maybe an empath needs to get a little bit more firm with the energetic boundaries of, I don't care if I can tell they're interested. I'm not. So I can go ahead and I can say, I'm kind of like tuning down the volume on that. It doesn't mean to be rude to somebody or anything like that. But if the big thing for her is that she has to perhaps learn how to tune out all of this subconscious awareness and all of this, thought process about them and the potential timelines and blah, blah, blah. Because I think it's muddied the waters for her to where she's like, I feel like I'm always kind of somebody I don't get it. I can tell somebody's interested, but then they don't really approach. Maybe they never were going to, but that doesn't matter. She forgot about the most important person in the equation, which is her. What do you want? Who cares whether or not they're going to approach? Who cares if they give the symbols or the signals that they're interested? Are you interested? So bring it on home and only ask the question to your own self. And that might help her perhaps to tune out their energy flowing at her. Now, I don't know if this is, anything at all to even consider in this fictional story, but that's the way I interpret this, because that's kind of when I see that clarity card, that to me, the sun is personal. The sun is my happiness. The sun is my clarity, my truth. And I think that was really important, especially when we talked about subconscious, and now we need to shed light on it and shed light on what action can I take. This is masculine energy now. I'm supposed to move forward in my life, not be stuck in the energetic realm, the subconscious realm, where I'm wondering what somebody else is going to do. We do have the Eight of Cups in the reverse. Might they return and approach her again later? Yeah, it's very possible. She may already even know that as well. But the bigger thing is, would you want them to approach you on a second round if they are clear and concise on what their actions are going to be? Maybe that'll be exactly the way she handles this. Like, I'm not even going to worry about this unless they show up again in my life on their own, motivation. I will not give them, rent in my head. They will not live somewhere in the catacombs of my mind unless they show up again at a later date and make their presence known and, basically knock on the energetic doorway in a bold way of, I am here, may I speak to you? Then I'll make that decision. Otherwise, unless they come around in a more, definitive way, I can release the thought of this. And I think it's going to help her release herself from overthinking. We go back to we had the doorways, and remember, he didn't open doors. And I said, maybe for better flow of energy in a house, like pay attention to like maybe the bedroom at the end of the hall, that door needs to stay open. And then that, allows a wind current to come through the house, siphon through nicely and cool the whole house. we have an open door here. And I'm wondering if this is more a metaphor that he needs to open a door. Remember, he bypassed it. That was the first part of this story. So I don't know. We've got the Four of Cups and we got the Queen of Wands upright. At the end of the day, she's sitting over here saying, I know what I am. I am the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands, I always think of as the best character to choose what she wants for herself. And if somebody is bummed out, look, they may have to be bummed out. Maybe she's not going to be interested. Maybe their version of what the Akashic records could hold will not be the thing that she wants to say yes to. Maybe she's just going to go ahead and live her life the way she wants to, and she'll make the decision. I think she kind of has to prime herself again to ask her own self, what do I want? Just because somebody shows back up, just because somebody wants my energy, does not mean that I want to say yes. And I have to brace myself and protect myself and prepare myself to ask myself, what do I want? In the event they show back up, then I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Just because they're disappointed, again, if they're sending that to me and I'm an empath and I can tell they're disappointed, it does not mean that I need to take away their disappointment by giving them access to me. Their disappointment is theirs to own. My decisions are mine to own. And I think that's maybe another lesson for her that she's, putting into her own intentions on how she will live her life moving forward. And I think that's maybe what this whole story was about. Anytime in life we have any experience at all, we could contemplate what's the lesson here. By the way, she may look great in deep red, deep burgundy, maroon, those really powerful, deep colors. And she may have a love for gold jewelry specifically. It looks really nice there. But I think maybe that's what this whole story has been. When we do things, fail to do things, life as a whole, the actions that we take in life, those things are our actions. That is what our life is made up of, is a collection of our choices. So it's a good idea to evaluate our choices, especially if any of our choices have left us confused or unhappy. Those might be the best things because it tells us something about ourselves. And if we can maybe ask ourselves, why do I do this? Why did I do that? Then we can get to the bottom of who we are, if we have fears or if we have strengths or if we have things to, why do I think the way I think? Why did I do what I did? Instead of why did they do this? When are they going to do that? And I kind of like that because both of these characters really owned their own actions in this storyline. And I think that's maybe what the real message was. All right, you guys, thank you, everybody. Really great to see you. I'm going to dip on out and move on with the day. I will see you guys again later on in some zodiacs and such. So take care. Lots of love. Bye.